namely Mr. Aubrey from the Leith Valley Holiday Park. He's going to talk to us about freedom camping. Would you like to come up, Mr. Aubrey? Welcome, John. You've got 5 minutes, after which time questions will be possible should you wish to take them, and councillors should wish to ask them. Would you just push the button in the middle, which you've done? The floor is yours.
Thank you, David. It almost sounds like I know a bit about freedom camping, but no, I have a vested interest, as I've indicated, with the Leith Valley Holiday Park. My concern is that I'm interested to know what the council, what direction they're taking the freedom camping. Are they promoting it or are they managing it? Now, I got one of these, unfortunately I didn't have much time. I'm sorry about this presentation if it's a wee bit disorganised, because I was only informed last night or invited down to this meeting. For whatever reason, I don't know, but I had indicated earlier on that I was very interested to come. Now, when I get back to this, what's happening here though, when I look through some of this information here, I see that you're using Campermate to promote the Thomas. Basically, the council's done a reasonable job, in my opinion. It doesn't satisfy everybody, but Warrington and Brighton, those areas, we have to have these areas because there are these people that choose this type of accommodation. And so the pressure's on those sites, and now you've opened up the Thomas Burns one. Now that was our point of difference, okay? There's about 8 of us holiday park camping grounds in town. Now that was our point of difference, that we were in town, and if the people wanted to stay in town, then they had a choice to stay with whatever park. If they wanted cheaper accommodation, they could go to Warrington or Brighton and places like that. And there are other areas around town. There's numerous of them. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that opening up the Thomas Street, I'm more concerned about the Thomas Street area, Thomas Street car park, Thomas Burns car park, okay, how it's affecting us as businesses in town here. Now, I can understand at peak time, January, February, or February, March, and there's probably a 2-month period there where the holiday parks and camping grounds around town are turning people away. Now, okay, to me that's managing the problem. You have to have somewhere to go because there's no more capacity at Warrington and Brighton. I can live with that. But what I struggle with is that you've set the park up to operate from the 1st of November, and it was meant to close at the end of April, but it didn't. Stephen or whoever, somebody chose to leave it open for a longer period of time. Now, we're running at 30-40% occupancy at those ends of the season. Now, to me, that's not managing the freedom campers, because they have an option out at Warrington or Brighton, and it's depriving us guys of an income here in town. Okay, we pay wages, we've got staffs, we've all got staffs, we all support local businesses, and as I understand with the government, the funding that you were to receive or apply for, it was not to adversely affect the local community or the businesses. Now, it's rather difficult to put an exact figure on what it's cost us, but it's definitely cost us somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 this year. And we're only one park, and like I say, there's 8 parks here in the greater town area. And so, yeah, we think it's a wee bit unfair. I'm not talking on behalf of them. I personally feel it's unfair that you're using government money and ratepayers' money to set up operations that are basically in competition to us, and you're not charging. When I go back to that Campermate app that a lot of the camper van people use, if you open it up and there's a choice to stay somewhere for nothing and a choice to stay at another place for $40, it's pretty obvious where people are going to choose in the low parts of the season, isn't it? We have these facilities already set up here, and it just seems frustrating to us. The other thing too that has come to our notice is that some of the rangers, I'd love to be able to talk to the rangers or whatever you call them, that are out there talking to the people, keeping an eye on them, to make sure that they're actually encouraging people to also come to our holiday parks. They're not, the first stop is not the Freedom Camping area down at Thomas Burns Street. Okay?
That might be something we could usefully talk to our economic development people about and see if that contact can be made. Right, you're happy to take questions?
I'm very happy to take questions.
Okay, Councillor Newell.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, and obviously it's a very graphic presentation when you start talking about the sort of figures that you are. Obviously it's a vexed issue for us to sort of try and deal with as well, because I think there's no one at this table that if we thought for a moment that they were going to use a local business instead of just driving down the road and sort of parking up somewhere and polluting, that, you know, we wouldn't support that. What would you like to see us do to strike a sort of happy medium? Because obviously we would want to support local business as well, but we've got to balance that with the fact that we've got to look after our environment. If we thought for a moment that rather than go and stay at Thomas Burns, think they'd come and stay with a, you know, established campsite with facilities, I don't think that anyone would be against that.
Well, what we would like to see happen is reduce the length of the season at like the Thomas Burn Freedom Camping Park, okay? Have it, I understand, and like I've acknowledged, you know, there is parts of the season where we're full, everybody's full, and if we don't provide something, we're going to get the situation you've just alluded to. So what, you know, basically, as a starting point, to reduce the length of the season would be, I don't see the need to have it open when we have capacity in our facilities. And if they're on a tight budget, then the opportunity is there for them to drive to Warrington or Brighton to satisfy their budget.
Thank you. Councillor Lofisa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir, for your presentation and for actually fronting up and challenging us. My question is just one of clarification following on from Councillor Newell's questions about figures. So you're saying that compared with 2018, you have had a drop in income of 40 to 50,000 solely attributable to Freedom Camping, our provisions for Freedom Campers in the city?
It's rather hard for me to quantify it, but when I've quite regularly driven past the Thomas Burns car park, okay, and there's people in there, and we have capacity in our holiday parks, and how we quantify how much I've lost, I do not know. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor O'Malley.
It's kind of a follow-up for Councillor Fisa's question. Would you be amenable to supplying the council with your occupancy rates so that you could demonstrate that in fact you're suffering from an occupancy rate drop because of the presence of that Thomas Burns Park?
Yeah, more than happy to supply occupancy. It's going to be rather difficult to prove what you're asking though. What I can show you is that the times that we are full, and your figures, your people that survey the numbers down there will know the numbers of camper vans that have been down there. Now, they're not all going to choose to come to a camper van, holiday park site, but there are 2, 3, 4 for my park, 2, 3, 4 for Cocker Valley, all around the show that will possibly go there, and that's the loss of income.
So, and then the other, I guess the other one, your year-on-year occupancy rates, so we could, because we know the number of people visiting. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's a hard number to calculate, but it might be a starting point in terms of everybody understanding with clarity what we're looking at.
Definitely, we have no problem with it. We're all computerised. It's not very difficult to spit out some sort of report that would show what's going on. But it has been a rising market, and yeah, so how we get on quantifying that, I'll leave it up to you.
Thank you. Councillor Wiley.
Thank you. Through this summer season, how many staff do you employ? You turn your,
The wrong way around. Yeah, we employ 12 staff over the main part of the season, and then possibly an extra couple of students and things over the summertime. They're not full-time jobs, but they are casual jobs. And we pay something like about 240 to 50,000 a year in salaries and wages.
Okay, and you obviously pay rates.
Definitely,
Yep.
definitely.
And are you on metered water or are you?
On metered water.
Okay, and what would you spend in rubbish removal?
We're probably spending about between 6 and 7 a month, so that 600 and 700 a month, so that's times 12,
About $9,000.
not something like that, yeah,
Okay.
around that sort of thing.
Okay.
Rates are 25,000.
So in the previous 3 or 4 years, you'd seen a growth in camper van numbers coming to you,
Definitely, definitely.
and this season, this past season, has that continued that growth pattern, or has it died off?
No, we're full. We're
Yep.
full. There's parts of the year when we're full, so the numbers are similar. Possibly, to be fair, this tail end of the season now, or coming into the next season, the numbers have slightly lifted.
And are you getting a lot, and again, my evidence is from driving past Tahuna, I see a lot of branded camper vans, and hence the Keras, the Brits, those sort of recognised brands, versus a lot of the backpacker style. Do you see similar, or do you have a lot of backpacker style?
No, mostly we have the branded vans. We do get a few of the younger ones usually that are in the people movers that are converted into camper vans, but yeah, usually it's the branded ones.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Councillor Gary.
Thank you for your presentation and offering up some solutions along the way. I was interested in just exploring a little bit further the people who come to Leith Holiday Park. So would it be fair to say your experiences from talking to the folk who come in camper vans or the adjusted vehicles, that sometimes they freedom camp on their holiday and sometimes they come to holiday parks? Would that be your experience of talking to them?
Yeah, that's what. Got it. No, yeah, yes, that would be fair. The ones in what you call the adjusted vehicles, that's quite a good name. I'll remember that. They're inclined to go, 2 or 3 nights. Then they want to have a shower, so they end up at a place like ours. So, yeah, and the others, they come and go too. But a lot of the people enjoy the extra comfort of the power and the hot water showers and things like that.
So my next question, and I was surprised actually just 2 nights ago to see a number of vans in the Thomas Boone Park because it's the middle of winter, and I would have thought the hot shower and the washer dryer would be very attractive because you do offer different facilities to what's offered there. I was interested to know, when you talk about reducing the length of the season for Thomas Boone, what do you think would be ideal from your point of view? Because clearly you're comfortable with it being there and available in the height of the season. What would you be comfortable with?
Well, actually, I'm not comfortable with it, but I can tolerate it. Yeah. Okay. It would start in the new year, and it would go. Like I say, with the records I have, I could soon work out. We'd be looking middle of March, something like that. Okay.
Thank you. Further questions? Councillor O'Malley.
You touched on something which I think, I'm just wondering how you'd feel about this. The facilities that are offered at the Freedom Camping sites are pretty minor, basically rubbish, water, and a toilet. What would you consider, would the camping grounds perhaps feel it wouldn't be a bad thing maybe if there was a place where advertising was put, where to say if you want to shower, if you want to do laundry, these are places you could go, so as that the city would be effectively directing some economic activity towards you from these sites?
We have a wee bit of a conflict there because our facilities are for our guests. Yes, and we do. We get lots of people coming in wanting to pay for a shower. The problem is we don't have unlimited capacity, okay, of these, and that's the problem we would have openly trying to sell our facilities. You either stay and use our facilities and we can control the number of people that are there, or you choose to the freedom camping. Yeah. We do from time to time. There's a number of people around town that are altering their homes, or for whatever reason their bathrooms are out of action. They come down, and we're quite happy to charge them a fee and let them have a shower and do the washing and do that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for taking the trouble to come in. We appreciate the sensitivity of this. It's been an issue that we have traversed for some time and will continue to do, as you know we're doing today. It's certainly my feeling that we're not trying to set up any competition with private operators, rather trying to manage a trend that's not of our making. So watch this space. Thank you for your efforts for our visitors.
Thank you very much.